What if I told you about an old book that has been ignored and kept secret for hundreds of years? This book claims to share forgotten information about the famous heroes in the Bible. It talks about giants, fierce fights, encounters with gods, and the secret reasons behind the actions of people like Abraham, Jacob, and Moses. This book is called the Book of Jasher. It is a mysterious text that the Bible mentions, but most people today don't know much about it. The Book of Jasher does more than just narrate stories. It gives us a better understanding of the lives of those selected by God. Imagine learning about Abraham's early struggles with idol worship, where he stood strong against his father's gods. Or seeing Moses not only as the leader of Israel, but also as a brave warrior who protected his people and faced Egyptian magicians. Jasher lets us peek into their lives, showing how they faced tough spiritual challenges and urging us to see their human side. Now here's the big question. If the Book of Jasher provides new details about familiar events, why isn't it part of the Bible? Could it have been too controversial, powerful, or detailed? Does it reveal aspects of our heroes like their personalities, challenges, and mistakes that might challenge traditional beliefs? Or is this ancient text simply offering a different angle, a fresh perspective on the stories of the divine that we know today? We are delving into the Book of Jasher to uncover these secrets, exploring the lives of biblical giants in more depth, and learning what this concealed text can teach us about belief, bravery, and fate. Come with us as we investigate the mysteries of the Book of Jasher, revealing the undisclosed sections of our spiritual legacy. The Book of Jasher, also known as the Upright Book or the Book of the Just, occupies a mysterious position in the realm of ancient biblical writings. While it is often mentioned alongside other holy texts, its journey through history is veiled in enigma. In contrast to the books of the Bible, which have been preserved through established traditions, the Book of Jasher was pushed to the sidelines and largely forgotten, resulting in centuries of being unknown. So, what exactly is this book, and why has it remained so difficult to grasp? First mentioned in Joshua 10:13, the Book of Jasher is reputed to contain the account of the day the sun stood still, a moment when God intervened to grant Israel triumph over the Amorites. Later, in 2 Samuel 1:18, David's lament for Saul and Jonathan makes a reference to this same book, drawing from its poetic heritage to underscore the seriousness of the occasion. However, beyond these references, there is scarce direct information about it in canonical texts, leaving numerous inquiries unanswered. Was it a historical record, a compilation of heroic stories, or a poetic repository of Israel's eminent figures? These responses have faded with time, leaving behind only fragments of conjecture and supposition. Even though the Book of Jasher isn't in the Hebrew Bible, it has captivated many Jewish and Christian scholars. It is thought that Jasher might have started as a collection of spoken histories, tales passed down through generations to remember heroes and record God's acts for Israel's future. This tradition of storytelling was deeply ingrained in ancient society. Oral stories were not just for entertainment, but essential for preserving identity, passing on values, and educating each new generation. In this context, the Book of Jasher likely served as a cherished reminder of Israel's beginnings and purpose, containing stories meant to encourage bravery and loyalty to God's teachings. However, as time passed, physical copies of the book were lost, hidden by invasions, exiles, and changing cultural priorities. Early church leaders spoke of the book with reverence but uncertainty, since it wasn't part of the formal list of scriptures decided upon by the Council of Carthage in 397 that form the Old and New Testaments. The Book of Jasher faded away, moving from an accepted text to a mysterious relic. During the Middle Ages, the book's reputation changed, becoming mysterious and rumored to hold secret knowledge. This idea strengthened when a manuscript emerged in Venice in the 17th century, claiming to be the genuine Book of Jasher. While many doubted its authenticity, some believed it contained ancient stories passed down through hidden channels. Further examination revealed that this version was a mix of earlier Jewish and Midrashic traditions rather than a literal ancient text. Nevertheless, this find sparked renewed interest in Jasher's content, leading to various translations, including an English version in 1840 by Mordecai Manuel Noah, who played a key role in spreading awareness about this extraordinary book. But what does this rediscovered Book of Jasher actually contain? This text offers a broader perspective on biblical events, often retelling and elaborating on familiar stories. It presents detailed accounts of Abraham's early rejection of idol worship, his intellectual debates with his family, and his conflict with Nimrod, a mighty ruler intent on his destruction. Jasher introduces us to a young Joseph, depicting his journey from favored son to a significant figure in Egypt. It also enhances the narrative of Moses, who, in Jasher, is not only a leader but also a military strategist with stories of warfare and supernatural aid. These tales, intertwined with the familiar narratives of Genesis and Exodus, provide deep understandings into the emotional and spiritual paths of these towering personalities. Culturally, the Book of Jasher emphasizes the ancient principles of faithfulness, courage, and respect for God's authority. Each story highlights a key message: the significance of obeying God, the harmful effects of pride, and the belief that divine intervention shapes the course of history. These principles are enduring, striking a chord in Jasher's distinct manner. While the traditional Bible focuses on conciseness and directness, the Book of Jasher often delves deeper, elaborating on battles, internal conflicts, and pivotal moments that unveil the humanity of each character. By adding complexity to these individuals, the Book of Jasher prompts readers to view the heroes of faith not as distant myths, but as relatable people grappling with belief and uncertainty, loyalty and skepticism. So why then is this book not part of the Bible? Despite its clear emphasis on virtuous values and its mention in Scripture, some scholars argue that the Book of Jasher includes elements that stray from the core biblical themes, portraying exaggerated or embellished events that feel more like folklore than divine insight. Others propose that its exclusion is simply a consequence of historical circumstances, where certain texts were preserved while others were lost as Israel underwent turbulent centuries. Regardless of its omission, the Book of Jasher has left a lasting impression, influencing readers and sparking discussions across generations. Today it remains an intriguing complement to the traditional Bible, adding depth to beloved tales and prompting us to delve into the emotions, aspirations, and obstacles that shape the lives of faith's greatest champions. As we delve further into the narratives within the Book of Jasher, we encounter characters who grow more intricate, with desires, challenges, and aspirations that reveal the timeless essence of their journeys. We witness them confront trials that require bravery, faith, and selflessness, much like what we face in our own lives. Their stories remind us that the path of faith is not always clear-cut. It is marked by decisions that define us, conflicts that test us, and triumphs that reveal God's presence in our lives. One of the most remarkable tales in the Book of Jasher recounts the early years of Abraham, shedding light on a young man born into a society immersed in worship of idols and moral decay. According to Jasher, Abraham's father, Terah, was a prominent idol craftsman in the city of serving under King Nimrod. However, even in his youth, Abraham felt a different calling. In Jasher 11:16, Abraham questions his father, asking, "Why do you worship these lifeless statues that cannot see or hear, instead of the God who made the heavens and the earth?" This act of defiance distinguished Abraham, leading to a pivotal moment where he destroys his father's idols, boldly declaring his faith in the one true God. This courageous act comes with consequences. As per Jasher, Nimrod learns of Abraham's defiance and orders his execution. Fearing for his son's life, Terah hides Abraham, allowing him to grow up in secrecy. Jasher portrays Abraham as a brave challenger of prevailing beliefs, someone willing to risk everything for the truth he holds dear. This early display of courage foreshadows the steadfast faith Abraham would exhibit throughout his life. Through Abraham's narrative, the Book of Jasher teaches us that faith often demands standing against the norms of society, showing how a single act of rebellion can set a person on a path to becoming a significant figure in God's design. Abraham's account in Jasher showcases bravery in the face of peril, echoing the enduring lesson that sometimes God calls us to confront the false idols of our time, regardless of the sacrifices involved. The Book of Jasher also elaborates on the story of Joseph, adding layers of intensity and sentiment to his transformation from a favored son to a powerful leader. In Jasher's rendition, we witness Joseph's brothers grappling intensely with envy and bitterness. Jasher details how they plotted to kill Joseph, but ultimately chose to sell him into slavery. A betrayal fueled by a mix of emotions, including animosity and self-preservation. In Jasher 1:29, their inner turmoil is depicted, showing the heavy burden they carried even before carrying out their plan. Should we kill our brother, our father's beloved? Will his blood not haunt us forever? After being sold into slavery, Joseph's journey in Jasher showcases his unwavering strength and loyalty amid intense hardships. The text vividly depicts his struggles in Egypt, where he endures shame, temptation, and imprisonment. Despite these trials, Joseph stays true to his faith, never wavering even in his darkest moments. Jasher 4:14 captures Joseph's steadfastness while in captivity. "I will not go against my God, for he watches over me, hearing my voice even in the shadows." Through Joseph's story, the Book of Jasher imparts a lesson on resilience. Despite being betrayed by those closest to him, Joseph remains steadfast, proving that dedication to God transcends any challenges. As Joseph rises to power and reconciles with his brothers, a theme of redemption unfolds. Jasher highlights that God's plan cannot be derailed by betrayal, suffering, or injustice. Joseph's act of forgiveness towards his brothers underscores the possibility of reconciliation, even in the bleakest circumstances. Jasher's depiction of Moses provides a detailed glimpse into his early life in Egypt, portraying him as a figure of strength, bravery, and divine favor even before his famous encounter at the burning bush. Raised in Pharaoh's household, Moses emerges as a respected leader and military commander known for his courage. Jasher 7:11 narrates Moses leading Egyptian forces in battle, earning both admiration and jealousy within Pharaoh's circle. Yet, Moses grapples internally upon witnessing the plight of the Hebrew people. Upon discovering his true heritage, he sides with the Israelites, eventually confronting Pharaoh. Jasher emphasizes that Moses didn't just seek freedom for his people, he engaged in a spiritual and physical struggle against Egypt's elite and sorcerers who aimed to challenge his authority. In Jasher 9:36, Moses confronts Egyptian sorcerers, demonstrating that his power stems from a higher source. The magicians could not withstand Moses, as the strength of God was with him. The Book of Jasher elaborates on the plagues in Egypt, portraying how Moses and Aaron faced off against Pharaoh and his court with miraculous displays, asserting God's supremacy over Egyptian gods and magic. This depiction of Moses as both a fighter and a messenger provides us with a more complete understanding of his leadership and the bravery needed to challenge a powerful empire. The account of Moses in Jasher reveals that when God selects someone, he equips them with all they require to accomplish their mission. Moses' narrative in Jasher serves as a reminder of the strong shield God extends to his followers and the lengths he will go to ensure their liberty. By delving deeper into these narratives, the Book of Jasher showcases important spiritual themes that echo throughout the Bible. The first theme is faith. Whether it's Abraham's rejection of idol worship, Joseph's resilience, or Moses' courage, each individual is characterized by a deep trust in God that defies human reasoning. Jasher's stories illustrate that faith isn't just a passive belief, but an active, sometimes risky decision to align oneself with God, even in the face of opposition. The second theme is divine justice. Jasher consistently demonstrates that regardless of delays, God's justice will ultimately triumph. Abraham is rescued from Nimrod's anger, Joseph is proven innocent and elevated, and Moses witnesses the downfall of Pharaoh, the tyrant. Jasher's tales emphasize the idea that God's justice might not be swift, but it is certain. Lastly, Jasher introduces the concept of transformation. Each of these figures undergoes significant personal growth, molded by their challenges and decisions. Starting as young men facing overwhelming odds, they evolve into instruments of God's plan through their experiences. Jasher teaches us that true greatness in God's realm often emerges from suffering, adversity, and a readiness to believe in God's grand design. One of the most remarkable times when angels helped in the Book of Jasher is seen in Abraham's life. When Abraham as a young man refused to worship idols, risking his life, King Nimrod, in anger, tried to kill him. In the Book of Jasher, an angel appears to Abraham, comforting him and preparing him for the challenges ahead. In Jasher 8:30 it says, "And the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said, 'Don't be afraid, for the Lord is with you.'" This support boosted Abraham's determination, enabling him to face the strong opposition. As Abraham embarks on his journey of faith, angels keep appearing to him, confirming God's promise and guiding him towards his divine mission. When Abraham and his wife Sarah are assured of a child despite their old age, an angel brings them this news, affirming God's extraordinary plan for them. The presence of angels in Abraham's life emphasizes the close bond between God and his chosen servant, showing that even when human aid is lacking, divine help is always near. Through Abraham's tale, Jasher teaches that those who trust in faith are never truly abandoned. God sends his messengers to lead, guard, and fortify them. Angels act as a manifestation of God's protection, ensuring that the faithful are supported and directed during times of doubt and fear. One of the most gripping and emotional moments in Jasher is the account of the binding of Isaac, a test of Abraham's allegiance and trust in God. In this rendition of the story, the spiritual stakes are raised as an angel intervenes dramatically. Jasher's narrative delves into the inner conflict experienced by both Abraham and Isaac during this trial. As Abraham readies himself to sacrifice his son Isaac, we learn that he is deeply saddened but willing to obey, having faith in God's goodness even when things seem unclear. When Abraham is about to strike, an angel physically prevents him, urgently calling his name. In Jasher 23:73, the angel's words ring out, "Abraham, Abraham, do not harm the boy, for now I see that you fear God." This moment captures the impactful intervention of God through his messenger, emphasizing that while God values obedience, he does not desire human suffering. The angel's action reveals God's compassionate character and confirms his pact with Abraham, demonstrating that though faith may be tested, God's intentions are always for redemption. Jasher's depiction of this episode stresses that divine intervention often happens at the moment of greatest despair. This account serves as a reminder that by completely submitting to God's will, we open ourselves to divine rescue, even if it arrives in unexpected ways. In the Book of Jasher, Jacob experiences many divine moments and visions of angels that shape his life's journey. One of the most well-known is Jacob's vision of a ladder, where he sees angels going up and down between heaven and earth. Jasher expands on this vision, portraying it as a symbolic event that reveals Jacob's spiritual fate and the divine shield that will be with him. In Jasher 33 it says, "And there was a ladder set on the earth, reaching up to heaven, with angels of God going up and coming down on it." This vision, where angels bridge heaven and earth, reminds us strongly of the bond between God and his people. According to Jasher, angels are not just messengers but also protectors, moving between worlds to fulfill God's plan and safeguard those he has chosen. The ladder symbolizes a channel of divine communication, confirming God's promise to Jacob and assuring him of divine protection on his journey. Jacob's vision is more than a mystical encounter, it is a pledge. The Book of Jasher teaches us that through such encounters, God establishes a direct line of defense and communication with those he calls. This divine link means that even in times of exile, hardship, or peril, Jacob, and by extension the people of Israel, are always under God's watchful eye. In the Book of Jasher, Moses is portrayed not only as a prophet and leader, but also as a warrior guided by supernatural beings. Jasher adds depth to the familiar tale of Moses facing Pharaoh, illustrating how God's angels aid Moses in his struggle against the forces of Egypt. Pharaoh's court, known for its magic and pagan influence, becomes a battleground where heavenly and demonic forces clash directly. In Jasher, the conflict escalates as Moses performs miracles that challenge Pharaoh's sorcerers. Jasher 9:35 recounts, "And the Lord sent an angel to strengthen Moses in his heart so he would not be afraid." This divine support underscores the importance of Moses as an agent of God's justice. The angels act as both defenders and catalysts for Moses' mission, representing God's direct intervention in liberating his people. Jasher also talks about how angels intervened during the plagues, where God's angels carried out his punishment on Egypt's idols and people, displaying his supreme power over their false gods. This intervention serves as a strong reminder of God's control, with the angels acting as enforcers of divine fairness. Jasher uses this story to convey that God's justice is not only quick, but also carried out by divine beings who make sure his commands are fulfilled with strength and accuracy. The Book of Jasher adds significant details to Joshua's conquest of Canaan, illustrating how God sends his angels to help in Israel's battles. When Joshua and his army faced tough battles against the fortified cities of Canaan, Jasher recounts moments when angels joined the fight, shifting the odds in Israel's favor. In the account of the Battle of Jericho, for instance, Jasher describes angelic forces weakening the city's defenses, ensuring Israel's triumph. When Joshua asks God to make the sun stand still, Jasher mentions the presence of angels, indicating their role in controlling celestial events to carry out God's will for Israel's victory. In Jasher 88:63, it says, "And the Lord listened to Joshua, and the angels commanded the sun to stand still over Gibeon." In these instances, angels operate both in the heavens and on earth, demonstrating their influence over time and nature. Through these tales, Jasher emphasizes that Israel's successes are not solely due to human effort or tactics, but also to divine assistance. The angels are portrayed as warrior companions, reinforcing the idea that God fights on behalf of his people, sending his messengers to secure triumph and safeguard his chosen ones. In these stories, the Book of Jasher presents a strong belief in divine intervention, depicting angels as active participants in carrying out God's design. Whether guiding, protecting, or delivering justice, angels in Jasher are deeply involved in human events, underscoring that God is always at work. Through the accounts of Abraham, Jacob, Moses, and Joshua, Jasher teaches that faith in God involves trusting in his unseen forces. Angels stand as a testament to God's might, assuring the faithful that they are never alone in their struggles. The stories in Jasher also highlight a crucial message: God never leaves his people to face impossible challenges by themselves. Whether in the spiritual or physical realms, he sends his messengers to help, whether by providing guidance in confusion, safeguarding in danger, or fighting in times of conflict. The Book of Jasher reminds us that divine intervention isn't just a thing of the past, it's an ongoing reality that continues to lead, shield, and empower those who have faith. In Jasher, prophecy often comes in the form of blessings and predictions that shape the futures of entire groups and nations. For example, the book offers prophetic insights into the lives of Abraham and Isaac, showing how their actions would impact future generations. Before his passing, Abraham blesses Isaac with promises that foretell the emergence of a great nation and a significant lineage. In Jasher 6:18, Abraham says, "Your descendants will become numerous nations, and through them all the earth will be blessed." This prophecy concerning Isaac echoes God's covenant with Abraham, setting the stage for Israel's place in history. Jasher uses this episode to emphasize that the patriarchs' lives are part of a divine chain of events that spans generations. Through prophetic blessings, the book underscores that God's commitments are fulfilled not just immediately, but also in the far-off future, extending his blessings through time and securing a legacy for those who follow his will. Isaac also continues this tradition by blessing his sons, Jacob and Esau. Jasher delves into Isaac's sorrow as he realizes that Esau's path will stray from the righteous line. Jasher accentuates the difference between Jacob, the chosen son, and Esau, whose descendants would become adversaries of Israel. Through these blessings and curses, the Book of Jasher foreshadows the future conflicts between Israel and Edom, reminding readers that every decision, every blessing, and every act of disobedience has consequences that echo through history. The prophetic dreams of Joseph in Jasher provide another compelling example, highlighting his special connection to God's designs. While Joseph's dreams about sheaves and celestial bodies bowing down to him are familiar from Genesis, Jasher presents them with a deeper sense of divine mystery, suggesting not just Joseph's future ascent to power, but also the preservation of Israel itself. In Jasher 37:10-11, Joseph experiences vivid and unsettling dreams that he recognizes as divine messages. Even though his brothers mock him, Jacob, his father, senses the significance of these visions. Jasher's retelling underscores that Joseph's rise to power isn't for personal fame, but as part of a divine strategy to shield Israel from future famine. These dreams serve as prophetic assurances, guiding Joseph to endure betrayal and suffering with the understanding that his life is intertwined with a greater destiny. Through Joseph's journey, the Book of Jasher demonstrates a key idea, that God's plans can unfold in surprising ways, using challenges to equip his selected servants. Joseph's tale teaches us that prophecy doesn't always result in instant rewards. Instead, it may lead through difficulties that ultimately bring about God's assurances. Jasher utilizes Joseph's dreams to urge readers to have faith in divine timing, even when God's intentions are not immediately clear. One of the significant prophetic episodes in the Book of Jasher happens when Moses receives a vision of Israel's future while still in Pharaoh's court. Jasher recounts how Moses, even before encountering God at the burning bush, has a prophetic revelation revealing the suffering and eventual freedom of the Israelites. In Jasher 71:3, Moses is described as feeling deep sadness for his people, foreseeing the struggles they will face under Pharaoh's rule. This prophecy not only predicts the plagues in Egypt, but also foretells Israel's challenging journey in the wilderness and the obstacles they will encounter in establishing themselves as a nation. Moses' vision acts as a moment of enlightenment, strengthening his determination to stand with God's people rather than the luxuries of Pharaoh's palace. In Jasher's narrative, this vision serves as a preview of both the Exodus and the hardships that will challenge Israel's faith after their escape from Egypt. Moses' prophetic sight also carries a broader message about leadership and self-sacrifice. Jasher implies that being chosen by God often requires leaving personal comfort behind for a greater purpose. Moses' foresight becomes a weight he must carry, as he sees not just Israel's immediate future, but also the ethical and spiritual battles that lie ahead. Jasher's story underscores that those selected to lead God's people are frequently granted glimpses of forthcoming trials, enabling them to ready themselves for the sacrifices and difficulties inherent in their roles. The Book of Jasher also contains end-time elements that predict upcoming conflicts between Israel and its opponents, setting the struggles of the patriarchs and the emergence of Israel within a wider cosmic battle. For instance, Jasher's story of Esau and his descendants hints at future animosity. In Jasher 57:36, Esau's animosity towards Jacob is described as laying the foundation for a long-lasting conflict between their offspring, which will happen in the future. This ongoing clash is depicted as more than a family feud. It symbolizes a battle between good and evil, previewing Israel's future clashes with empires and nations opposing them. Jasher presents these battles as part of an end-time sequence, implying that Israel's fate is linked to a struggle for spiritual and moral righteousness. This apocalyptic theme corresponds with later prophetic writings, like those in Daniel and Revelation, which portray dark forces rising against God's chosen people in the final days. The apocalyptic hints in the Book of Jasher remind readers that the journey of faith is not just an individual pursuit, but part of a grand cosmic fight. By depicting Israel's adversaries as symbols of rebellion and spiritual resistance, Jasher urges believers to see their lives through a prophetic lens, prompting them to view their own challenges as part of a broader conflict that spans both earthly and heavenly realms. In essence, the Book of Jasher utilizes these prophetic and apocalyptic themes to impart profound lessons about faith, perseverance, and the potency of divine assurances. The prophecies in Jasher are not mere glimpses of the future. They serve as calls to stand firm in the present. Just as Abraham, Joseph, and Moses faced trials with trust in God's assurances, Jasher encourages readers to have faith in God's ultimate design, even when confronted with difficulties and uncertainties. In the Book of Jasher, prophecy is portrayed as both a gift and a duty. The book suggests that those who receive divine insight are often tasked with enduring significant challenges, bearing witness to God's unfolding plan. This idea is echoed in the stories of the patriarchs, who each make personal sacrifices to fulfill their divine calling. Jasher teaches that prophecy does not guarantee an easy road. Instead, it beckons individuals to walk faithfully, trusting that God's assurances will come to pass at the right time. The apocalyptic themes in Jasher also serve as a reassurance that despite facing opposition, God's people are secure in His care. By placing Israel's challenges in a prophetic framework, Jasher prompts readers to see their own lives as part of a broader spiritual struggle that will ultimately end in God's triumph. Therefore, the Book of Jasher is not just a historical account, but a manual for living with bravery, endurance, and unshakable faith in God's lasting purpose. Another key theme in Jasher is the significance of integrity. Characters like Abraham, Joseph, and Moses exemplify what it means to live with steadfast faith, even in the face of trials that might tempt others to compromise. For example, Abraham stands firm against idol worship, even when it means risking his life. His unwavering faith is grounded in a deep belief in the one true God, which Jasher presents as a model of absolute integrity. In Jasher 12:42, Abraham proclaims, "I will not bow down, for there is only one true God, and Him alone shall I serve." Joseph's narrative also showcases the importance of integrity. Despite being betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and falsely accused, Joseph resists the temptation to harbor bitterness or seek revenge. Instead, he holds on to his faith, avoiding wrongdoing and placing his trust in God's overarching plan. Jasher depicts this inner strength as the driving force behind Joseph's ascent to power in Egypt. Even amidst adversity, Joseph upholds a clear conscience, revealing that true integrity remains steadfast regardless of external challenges. Through Joseph's experiences, Jasher conveys that a life rooted in faith demands an unwavering dedication to righteousness. The book suggests that integrity is not just a personal trait, but a public declaration of God's transformative influence. Humility stands out as another central theme in the Book of Jasher, portrayed as the foundation of genuine greatness. Jasher contrasts individuals who embrace humility with those consumed by pride, illustrating how humility attracts divine favor while pride leads to downfall. For instance, Moses' journey to becoming a leader of Israel is marked by profound humility. In Jasher, Moses is initially hesitant to assume leadership, feeling inadequate for the role. His humility is what qualifies him for God's purpose, highlighting that authentic leadership requires a readiness to serve rather than seek glory. In Jasher 3:18, God reassures Moses, saying, "Do not fear, for I am with you, and it is not by your might but by my strength that Israel will be delivered." This episode emphasizes that Moses' humility serves as his source of strength. In contrast to Pharaoh, who governs with cruelty and pride, Moses leads with compassion and a servant's heart. Jasher's portrayal of Moses teaches that true greatness in God's realm is not about power or status, but about serving others with humility. Humility is also exemplified through David in Jasher, who, despite his future role as king, starts his journey as a humble shepherd. David's reverence for God and his respect for authority, especially his reluctance to harm King Saul despite Saul's enmity, are depicted as signs of his humility. Through these accounts, Jasher urges readers to acknowledge that God uplifts the humble while humbling the arrogant, emphasizing that humility is the bedrock of enduring honor. The Book of Jasher stresses the significance of kindness and fairness. especially towards those who are fragile or disadvantaged. Time and again, the heroes in Jasher exhibit concern for the powerless, the needy, and the marginalized, aligning their deeds with God's compassionate nature. In Jasher, kindness is depicted as more than just a personal trait. It is a communal duty, a guideline that societies must follow to mirror God's essence. For instance, Abraham is portrayed as a merciful leader, recognized for his generosity towards strangers and his equity in interactions with others. In Jasher 22:15, it states, "Abraham welcomed the traveler, offering food to the hungry and drink to the thirsty, for his heart was gentle." This portrayal highlights that Abraham's greatness stemmed not only from his faith, but also from his empathy towards all, making him a reflection of God's affection to those around him. Likewise, Joseph, as the ruler of Egypt, embodies fairness by ensuring that everyone seeking aid during the famine is treated justly, regardless of their origin. This dedication to justice is notably seen when Joseph secures his family's well-being, using his power to shield and support them. In Jasher, Joseph's compassionate governance stands in stark contrast to the self-centered ambitions of others, illustrating that genuine leadership prioritizes the welfare of all, not personal benefits. These narratives convey that justice and compassion go hand in hand. Jasher presents an image of a righteous society where the weak are safeguarded, the oppressed are defended, and compassion is extended to all. This motif resonates throughout the book, urging readers to live with understanding and to practice fairness within their own communities. Perseverance in tough times is a highly valued trait in Jasher, shown by individuals who endure hardships while keeping their faith intact. The accounts of Joseph and Moses, especially, spotlight this quality, revealing that resilience springs from trusting in God's plans. When Joseph encounters betrayal and imprisonment, he responds with endurance, opting to honor God despite his challenging situation. Joseph's resolve is captured in Jasher 2:28 when he says, "Though I am brought low, I trust that the Lord will lift me up, for his intentions are good." Similarly, Moses displays resilience, notably during the arduous journey through the wilderness. He encounters resistance not just from external foes, but also from his own people, who often question or rebel against him. Nonetheless, Moses persists, holding on to the dream of reaching the promised land and relying on God's assurances. Jasher's depiction of Moses inspires readers to keep going in the face of obstacles, underlining that faith demands perseverance and patience over time. Through these instances, Jasher illustrates that resilience is crucial for anyone treading a path of faith. It conveys that trials are not only tests of endurance, but chances to deepen trust and reliance on God. By highlighting resilience as a fundamental virtue, Jasher offers optimism to those feeling weighed down by difficulties, reminding them that God stands by those who persevere. Moreover, Jasher stresses the concept of moral responsibility, teaching that every choice carries consequences. Characters like Cain, Nimrod, and Esau exemplify the harmful effects of disobedience and selfish desires. In Jasher 2007:1, Nimrod's downfall is recounted. Nimrod grew arrogant, declaring, "I will establish my own dominion, and no one will rule over me." Yet the Lord humbled him. This emphasis on moral accountability serves as both a cautionary tale and a plea for repentance. Jasher's narratives prompt readers to recognize that God's commandments are not arbitrary. They exist to safeguard and direct his people. Disobedience, therefore, is not just a defiance of God, but a self-destructive path leading to downfall. By sharing these moral lessons, Jasher emphasizes the significance of taking responsibility towards God, oneself, and others. The teachings in Jasher echo enduring values, encouraging individuals to lead lives characterized by honesty, modesty, kindness, perseverance, and responsibility. Within these tales, we encounter a portrayal of virtuous living that challenges us to assess our own conduct, prompting us to seek a deeper alignment with the nature of God. As we wrap up this exploration of Jasher, contemplate how these age-old teachings could relate to your present-day circumstances. Are there areas where you are prompted to uphold honesty, display empathy, or demonstrate bravery in your beliefs? Ponder on how these narratives have motivated you. Together, let us share this profound wisdom, drawing upon ancient stories to fortify our faith in the here and now. Thank you for accompanying us on this voyage through the Book of Jasher. If this dialogue resonated with you, let these timeless accounts serve as a source of inspiration for us to lead lives filled with purpose, bravery, and unwavering faith.